Hey gang, it's a well-seasoned hiker here. I am here in my man cave. This is where I keep all my backpacking equipment. I'm here just now getting ready to pack up for a John Muir Trail through hike. Why don't I just take a moment and share with you what I'm bringing along. Now this isn't just a normal gear loadout. Of course I will be talking about my gear, but I want to talk about and I want to focus in on some of the things I'm changing in my kit because I'm leaving sort of late September, which is shoulder season, and particularly in the Sierras where you have a lot of uncertainty in terms of the weather. Not that the Sierras aren't uncertain already, but we could be getting some cold and windy weather, especially since I'm southbound and I'll be hitting that higher elevation territory late in the trip. So let me just kind of run through my kit, and I'll try to highlight for you the things that I'm adjusting to accommodate for some of those unknowns. First of all, and probably the biggest change I'm making, is in my sleep system. Instead of bringing my 20-degree quilt, which is more than enough for most of the time I'm in the Sierras in the summertime, I'm bringing my 0-degree UGQ quilt. It's a great quilt. It has a sewn-in foot box, which I certainly recommend if you're going to go with a 0-degree quilt. Anything 20 degrees and up, you probably don't want that. But this is a fantastic quilt, super warm, and right now we're hitting, I think, the mid-30s in a lot of parts of the Sierras. But I suspect as I get into those higher altitudes, having the 0-degree quilt will be important for a good night's sleep, which is critical when you're putting in a lot of miles. I'm going to pair up that UGQ quilt with my Nemo Tensor insulated 25-inch wide pad. Yeah, it's a 25-inch wide. I like to have the extra space. I like the thickness of it, the 3 inches of thickness, and it's a bit quieter than the Thermarest X-Therm. It's not as warm as the X-Therm. I think the X-Therm is like a 6.2 or a 6.9 R value. This is, I think, 4.5. This is the newer version. But I really love the quilt. Very, very comfortable. I pair that up with this Sea to Summit Aeros pillow. I know some folks just like to stuff clothes into a stuff sack. For me, that's not comfortable, and I don't get enough loft. For my tent, I will be bringing the same tent that I used throughout the summer, and that is my, I don't know if you can tell by the color, this is the Sage, the Durston X-Mid 1P. There you go. I went back and forth on whether I was going to bring the trekking pole tent or whether I was going to bring a freestanding tent. I traded messages with a bunch of folks on the Durston Facebook page and was convinced that I should go Little Rock, Big Rock. And so that's what I'm going to do. Look, I love the X-Mid. It's a tent that I've used, like I said, almost all summer. I know some people think it's the perfect tent, and I'm not trying to create controversy, but let's just leave it at that. It's a good tent, and I'm really going to enjoy it for the John Muir Trail. As far as I'm talking about the tent, it is a trekking pole tent, and I only hike with one trekking pole. This is my Lecky, I don't know, Macaloo or something like that, light. Put a little piece of duct tape on there for repairs, and that's my trekking pole. My second pole for the tent is this Z-Pax 48-inch collapsible carbon fiber pole, and for tent stakes, I'm bringing the MSR groundhogs. I have 4 long and 2 short groundhogs. So that's my tent. And then for my backpack, because I'm carrying more weight, carrying a larger bear canister and more weight, I'm bringing a more substantial backpack than I normally would bring. This is the Gossamer Gear Mariposa. I love this pack. It's a great pack. And particularly if I'm carrying more than 25 pounds, it's a great pack. So just there in the big 3, you can see I've made 2 changes for this trip. One because of the weather, and potential weather, I should say. And one because of just distance and weight. Right? I'm carrying a larger canister, I'm carrying a heavier backpack, and I'm carrying, 0-degree bag. So those are substantial changes for the shoulder season and for the length of the trip. Let me get into my ditties real quick. I separate things out because they're all purpose-built ditties. I don't think that, I guess maybe I'm not an ultralighter. I don't know. But I'm not going to save that much by putting everything into one ditty, and it creates a lot of problems for me. So I have a toiletry ditty. I only use this if I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to go through what I'm not going to go in, open this up, but it's got my toilet paper, my deuce of spades, some hand sanitizer, and it's got a little tube of body chafing cream in case I have any chafing. And I keep that separate because I don't use it anywhere else other than to go to the bathroom. I have my little toiletry kit here, which has my toothbrush. It's got my toothpaste tabs and my dental floss, and I keep that separate because at night this goes into my bear canister, and so I don't want to be going digging through my ditty bag to look for these things at night, so that I can separate them out and put them in my bear canister. I have a separate ditty for all the things that I use at night when I'm in my tent. So I charge at night and I sleep at night. Those are the two things I do. And then I have actually, additionally for this trip, I'm carrying a journal, so that's separate because it doesn't fit in here. But I got my Nightcore 20. This isn't the 25, so I'm not one of the cool kids, and I also don't have the shock cord. I still have the old regular strap on it. So like I said, I'm not a cool kid. Oh well. Melatonin for those nights where I'm having difficulty sleeping, which is usually the first couple of nights where I might have some difficulty. But after that, I'm good. Some earplugs. I use these earplugs. Definitely will be using them in Yosemite Valley tomorrow night. And then, the John Muir Trail can get busy, and so I will probably be sleeping next to other folks. And if people snore, it's nice to have earplugs. And then another change for this trip, which is due to distance, is my batteries. I am carrying a lot of battery. I'm not going to stop to charge my batteries. Batteries take too long to charge. So I got a 20,000 milliamp anchor. I've got a 10,000 milliamp Nightcore and another 10,000 milliamp anchor. So 40,000 milliamps. I can get a little bit more than 2 charges off of each of these 10,000 and about 5 charges off of the 20,000, maybe 4. So that gives me 8 charges in 16 days. I can charge basically every other day. I have the USB to USB-C with a little adapter for I don't know what kind of connector you call that, but that goes to my my Garmin InReach and to my headlamp. So I have one wire for my charging kit. This used to be in a ditty. This is my Jungle Juice. This is the DEET that I carry. It's 100% DEET. This stuff is, well, it works. It's poison, but I guess you have to pick your poison. You can either take the DEET or you can, enjoy the mosquitoes. I've used Picardin. I've used some of the organic stuff, and it just doesn't work as well as the DEET. I only apply this if I need to, which is like, mosquitoes don't bother me, I think, as much as it bothers a lot of people, so I don't apply it very often. They have to be pretty bad. And then, of course, I carry a bottle of SPF 50 sunscreen. I think that's it for my ditties. Cook set. This is my Toaks 750, which I pair up with my Toaks long handle spoon. In the Toaks 750, I have a little microfiber cloth for wiping down the inside of the pot. I only heat water, or sometimes I put every morning I put coffee in here, but that's it. I don't cook inside my pot. I use the MSR Pocket Rocket. I love this stove. I've had it for 4 years. It's worked great. It's far better than the BRS 3000 or whatever they call that thing. It heats faster, which means I use less fuel. It's much better in wind. It's not as good in wind as like a Soda Windmaster, or the king of stoves these days is the Jetboil Stash. The only problem with the Jetboil Stash, which by the way heats water in the blink of an eye, is it just takes up space, and I found that space in a pack is just as much a premium as weight, and so this is much smaller. So this is what I carry. Obviously a lighter, some waterproof matches, just in case. I've had these in this thing for a couple of years. I've never used one, but it's important to have. Piece of foil that I use for a windscreen, folded up piece of foil. This is brand new for this trip. I had another piece that I threw away that was just worn out, which I had, I think, for a couple of years. It just lasted. And then my canister, which I use a little piece of plastic. I think this is polycro, so that any moisture on the bottom of the canister doesn't cause a rust ring on the inside of my totes pot. That small canister will last me till I get to MTR, which is 7 days. My water filtration system, I use the Sawyer Squeeze along with C-Knock 2-liter dirty bag. I keep a little cord and carabiner on here if I ever want to just like leave it for gravity filtering. This is a great bag. I take this down with my 2 700 milliliter water bottles when I hit camp. I filter out 2 water bottles and then I fill this up a second time and bring that to camp, and then I don't have to go back down to get water for the rest of that, the rest of the time I'm in camp. The last thing I keep in my water filtration system is this collapsible 1 liter water bottle, and this is from Platypus, and I use this solely for mixing my electrolytes. I don't want to put my electrolytes in any of these bottles because it'll create a scent and attract bears, and I can't put these inside my canister at night. So what I do is I mix my electrolytes in this collapsible bottle, and then I can, when I'm done, I can collapse it down and put it inside my canister at night. Let's get into what I'm going to be wearing on the trail. I'm going to be wearing the Ultra Timp 3s. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these only because they're not available any longer, and I don't think the Timp 4s are as durable as these. I think the Timp 3s got a bad rap on durability. I've been wearing the Hoka Speed Goat 5s this summer, and they're worn out. I think they don't even have 200 miles on them. I'll definitely get through the whole John Muir Trail with these, and I suspect they'll still have a little bit left on them after that. But like I said, they're not available anymore, so we won't spend any time on that. Outdoor Research hat with a little curtain around it that covers my neck and my ears. It also helps keep the bugs off, but most importantly keeps the sun off. I am using the Outdoor Research sun gloves. I'm using Dirty Girl gaiters to keep the junk out of my shoes. I am another change for this trip because of the uncertainty about the weather and temperature is, instead of wearing running shorts with a liner that I normally wear, I'm bringing these cool convertible shorts. I wore them on my last trip too. You probably saw it in the video if you watched the videos. Much heavier worn weight than my running shorts, but it adds an extra layer of warmth for my legs, and I normally don't care about my legs, but as we get into the cooler temperatures, I may. So I'm bringing these, and it'll add a substantial amount of warm weight for the purposes of dealing with the weather. And also because of that, I'm having to bring underwear, and so these are the ex officios I wear. I bring one pair to wear and one extra pair to change out into. I wear these hollow alpaca socks. I do have Darn Toughs. I like these better. They're more comfortable. They dry faster. So yeah, I'm a convert on these things. It's not that I don't like Darn Tough. I think they're great socks, but these are awesome. And then I also hike in this Outdoor Research long sleeve, I guess it's polyester or something, UPF 50 rated shirt. That's different from what I would normally wear. I would normally wear the Echo hoodie, which is UPF 15, but this adds more warmth. In the mornings, I'll often wear this REI merino wool, lightweight merino wool on top of that to give me an extra layer of warmth. And then as I get, a mile or half a mile into the trail, I'll take this off. I do bring a little towel. It's a little, I don't know, kind of thick microfiber towel for washing up with. For sleeping in, I have medium weight smart wool top and bottom. I use these for my jammies. A couple reasons. I mean, even though I wash up at night before I get in the bag, it's nice to have this extra protection to keep my inside of my bag from getting dirty. But more importantly, it also gives me an extra layer of warmth. And then I also will wear this merino wool. I think the brand is -33 beanie cap. I love this thing, very comfortable. And so that's what I'll sleep in. And when I get up in the morning, I'll put on these Mountain Hardwear Polar Tech mid-weight gloves, and then this buff just to kind of keep me that extra layer of warmth. So a couple of changes there in my kit for the weather. One other change in my kit for the purposes of this trip is I'm bringing water socks. I normally just, with my trail runners, walk right through the streams, but I don't want to walk through streams late in the afternoon, like 4 o'clock, not give my shoes a chance to dry off, and then have to potentially put on wet or frozen shoes in the morning. So for the purposes of this trip, I'm bringing these water socks. I just bought them off of Amazon. They've got a nice kind of sole to them, which I think will probably help in crossing streams. But I will, at stream crossings, like probably around 3 o'clock or later in the afternoon, stop and take my trail runners off and cross in these just to keep my trail runners dry. So for my rain gear, I'll be bringing the Mountain Bell Virtus jacket. This says well. I mean, if I get into a rainstorm that's all day long and it's just pouring, look, no jacket's going to keep you dry. You're going to wet out. But anything that I've been in, like up to a couple of hours, this has done great. It's got pit zips. It's got a nice little pocket on the side here that I can keep the bag that it comes in. And then I'm bringing something that I wouldn't normally hike with, is these anti-gravity gear rain pants that'll double up as wind pants as I get into those higher altitude passes, and of course on top of Mount Whitney, where it probably really will be blowing. It'll be nice to have another extra layer on my legs that I would normally not have. So I'm doing that for my rain gear and my wind gear. And I don't want to forget my jacket. The jacket I'm bringing is this Ghost Whisperer UL. I think that's what it's called. This is the 1,000 fill jacket. I think it's, 4 or 5 ounces. Does well down to, high 30s by itself. When paired with my merino wool tops, this will take me down into the, below freezing without any problem whatsoever. So one last thing is my bear canister. This is the Wild Ideas Barricade. This is the Weekender. I think it's 10.5 inches high. So it's a little shorter than the BV500. It's a little narrower than the BV500. Has almost the same volume as the BV. But it's more expensive than the BV. So if you're an avid backpacker and you do a lot of hiking, it's probably worth the investment. So some of this may be consistent with what you were already thinking in terms of how you were going to adjust your kit for shoulder season. Some of it may just confirm some of the things that you were thinking. And then you may have some ideas that I didn't think about. And by the way, if you do, I really would appreciate knowing what they are. If you want to share them with me, please leave your thoughts down in the comment sections on the bottom of this video. But hopefully this was useful for you, and hopefully you enjoyed this video, and certainly I appreciate you taking the time to check it out. So thank you very much, and good hiking to you.